Hi guys, it's Kim, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of my favorite crystal combinations. You guys are always asking me what are some of my favorite combinations, so I'm going to share with you some of them. In terms of dealing with combinations, basically I feel like all crystals can work together. We're all one big happy family, but you do want to take it slow and try different combinations. And what works best for you is always the way to go. But narrow down your intentions and try to combine crystals that have similar intentions. You really kind of want to make sure you're not having too much going on, too much craziness and too many energies. You want to make sure those energies are kind of, going together, that they're meshing well. So you can kind of narrow it down. If you're looking for some generalized healing or good luck, you can kind of go with the green crystals, jade, green aventurine, green calcite. You're gonna be fine with working with something like that together. So narrow down your intentions, and then you can kind of know which crystals you want to combine. Follow your intuition, because you really, that's the way to go. And I'm gonna say that in every video. It's your compass, right? Your intuition is your compass. Keep it simple. We don't have to have like giant combinations of crystals. When you really have so many different crystals all out, I mean, it can be very overwhelming and powerful. I can attest to that. I get very sick whenever I do any type of thing where I have a lot of crystals out. Like today I'm videotaping a lot of videos. I have tons of crystals out. By the end of the day, I'm probably going to be pretty spent because it's too much energy for me. So, keep it simple. You don't have to go crazy. 2, 3 crystals the most when you're combining, at least in the beginning. All right. Pick crystals that have the common outcome. For example, like lepidolite and rose quartz together, are going to be very calming and soothing. You can start with color. Color is a good place to start, and I've said this before, it's not always about color. In fact, sometimes it's not about color, it's about the energy. But color does have an energy all of its own, so you can start with colors. So you might want to stick with colors that are similar and not opposing. So if you're working with, for example, you have a color wheel, right? You don't necessarily want to pick opposing colors if you're combining, because if you combine energies that are opposing, you're either going to cancel out those energies, or you're just going to create like chaos and confusion, like being at the subway station or something. It might be too overwhelming. So take a look at a color wheel and try not to have opposing colors, or opposing energies when you're combining your crystals. Unless, of course, you want to do that. If you want to counteract something, then you would then go ahead and use an opposing color or an opposing energy. So it's a good place to start, all right? You can also go by their geometric shape, their design. So you have their crystal structure, rather. So if you have some crystal that is cubic, for example, or isometric, based on like squares, you can do that. So you might work with pyrite, or a diamond, because they both have that cubic thing going, or garnet, I'm going to say pyrite, fluorite, because they have that cubic structure, right? So they have that commonality. Sometimes we're looking for commonality. It's not always necessary, but it does kind of help. You can also work with the hexagonal crystals based on the hexagon, the six-sided inner structure, like an emerald or a beryl or an apatite. Or how about the trigonal ones, like calcite or tourmalines or quartz or carnelian? All right, so you can, look that up on the internet, look at the different crystal structures, and you can pick crystals based on if they have a similar crystal structure. Again, it's not necessary. It's just a possible recommendation, a possible way to combine crystals. I often don't even do that, I don't think, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there as an option for you. You can also work with crystals in the same family. I love working with quartzes. I love clear quartz, green aventurine, rose quartz, smoky quartz. I love working with them. Amethyst, I love working with them together. I love that energy. I feel like they're just a happy family. I don't know. It just seems to really work really well. Um, all agates, all tourmalines, all jaspers, you know, along those lines. I just think it works well. There's like this nice flow there, you know. So go ahead and research the different crystal structures and families and stuff. I give you the link below. It's mindat.org. You can learn all that information and kind of combine your crystals based on that if you're interested. Um, Now, this is not an area that I'm overly, educated in or well versed in, and I don't even really take it into consideration, though I can see how this could be a very important factor, but crystals do tend to have different elements, you know, whether it's wind or fire or earth. Okay, so we have the different elements, and depending on who you follow or what book you read or what article you read on the internet or video or whatever, there are different philosophies on that, so I can't really go into the details of it. So you might want to research the different elements in crystals and try to combine crystals that have similar elements. There is this like general like rule of thumbs that says like um, you don't want to mix fire crystals, like a fire element with a water element. I mean, that makes sense, you know, right? So that might not be something that you want to do. So go ahead and research that even further. And there's this really good book, these great cards. You can learn a lot in this. I highly recommend, from Naisha ASEAN, the Crystal Ally cards, the Crystal Captive Self-Knowledge. And they're the cards, and I use these in my readings too, right? See these cards, and they're great. These are great cards. But Naisha, she separates them into the different elements and gives you all kinds of descriptions and stuff like that. So that would be a good place to start if you're interested in learning the different elements and how that plays. So you might want to combine crystals based on their element too. That's just another whole option, and great book, great cards, highly recommend that. All right. And then, so some of my favorites. Basically, I combine crystals based on my intuition, my intuition, and based on what I know and how I know crystals affect me. And so that's kind of how I do it, and through trial and error. I mean, basically, I just kind of sometimes it's like kind of throw different things into the pot and give it a try and see what happens. You know, like if I blew up, oof, and maybe I don't want to do that one again. But some of my combinations I'm going to share with you right now, and I've talked about this a million times, but one of my favorites for energy is the citrine and the carnelian. Energizer Bunny. Okay? It's like drinking an energy shake. Like, seriously. All right? You really want to get things done. You know, you want to have enough energy to get it done. That's a great combo. Let's see. But when I do readings, people ask me what I do when I do readings, because I have some pretty accurate readings. So labradorite, of course, you guys know labradorite. This one goes in my bra. I have another one that I hold. But I have my labradorite, celestite, and also danbarite. And so these are the three as a combination that I use when I do readings, and it works really well for me. Sleeping, a great sleeping combo, amethyst and rose quartz and blue lace agate. Wonderful sleeping combo. For stress and anxiety, y'all know this one. Come on, lithium quartz is a good one for that, with rose quartz and of course the lepidolite. So if I'm really stressed out, normally on a regular basis, if I'm a little stressed out or something, then I got the lepidolite in the bra. When I'm really stressed out and I need more power to me, you know, I will make this combo: the rose quartz, the lithium quartz, and the lepidolite. I'm like asleep in a half hour. I'm like, I'm not stressed anymore, you know. Let's see, fear and bad dreams, excellent combo: smoky quartz and black tourmaline. Okay, can't go wrong with that. Focus and concentration, you guys know this one, right? Amethyst and fluorite, excellent combo for concentration. Ancient wisdom and knowledge. This is what I've used when I'm trying to do a little ancient research or something like that during meditation. Lemurian, of course. You've got to use the Lemurian. Um, Also, Tibetan quartz is perfect, and these work so well together, guys. And candle quartz, see, they're all the same family. So, and I love this one too because it's like communal. It's like a little city, so I feel like I'm tapping into like a crystal city or something. All right, so that's my favorite combo when I'm doing that kind of meditation. When I go hiking, I'll bring different things, but I always bring my aquamarine, always, especially if I'm going near water, I will always have my aquamarine. Rainforest jasper, so connecting with elementals and stuff like nature and stuff. And labradorite, I will bring with me. This is a different labradorite. Oh, look at that one, shimmery. So those are the ones that I will bring, and I bring other ones too, but that's a really great combination when I go hiking. I like to bring those. General manifestation, I did a whole video on manifestation and stuff, but real quick, clear quartz for that. Pyrite, it's a nice pyrite. Pyrite or citrine. I often choose the citrine, but you can use the pyrite. And black tourmaline or lodestone or hematite, something to ground the energy. Okay, and then for grounding, all kinds of things, but for I think my favorite grounding combination here is black tourmaline and red jasper. I like that combo. Or black tourmaline and hematite is a really good one. Okay, I like that. So let's see. Oh, for pain, a really good combo for pain is malachite and black onyx, or malachite and smoky quartz. Okay, you can combine the malachite with pretty much anything depending on what you're trying to target. So I'll use the malachite and amethyst if I have a headache. I could do that, or I can use the malachite and the black onyx if I have like a foot problem or something like that. So you can combine that with different things depending on what the pain is. But malachite with something else is pretty effective. Sadness, my favorite combination for this if I'm feeling really low is yellow jasper and fancy jasper. Again, two jaspers, just a really happy couple here. My favorite love combination is, and you can combine these, I mean, I don't necessarily use all of these, but if I'm going with the two quartzes, I'll do the green aventurine and the rose quartz, makes a really nice combo. Or you can do like, I'll do this sometimes too. Pink tourmaline and green tourmaline is a nice combination too. And in terms of a cold, this is what I use when we're sick in the house. Again, I have to say, go to the doctor, disclaimer, yada, yada, yada. But this is what I use to help when we have colds in our house. In addition to whatever other things I'm supposed to be doing that the doctor says. But I have a moss agate, and I got all fuzzy, out of focus for some reason. I'll use moss agate along with blue lace agate and carnelian. So that makes a nice combo for that. And every once in a while, my hormones get a little out of whack. I mean, it happens to the best of us. So I reach for, and I even have a little bag of it, my different color moonstones, and I find that really helps. I have black moonstone, peach moonstone, white moonstone, and I use my little combo of moonstones. That works really well. You can also use a little selenite in there too. And then in terms of meditation, I use a variety of crystals when I meditate. I typically do one or two when I meditate. Usually two, usually one, and then a clear quartz for amplification. I try to keep it simple. I don't use a lot of different crystals at once. It's just, it doesn't work well for me. But some that I will use in terms of meditation, and I'll combine in different ways. So I'm just going to show you some, but I combine them in all different ways. The Orlite 23, Danburite, and again, like they can just be in different combinations. I'll use lapis, Lemurians, all in different combinations. Selenite and celestite, apophyllite and herkimer's. But you can do apophyllite with a danburite, you know, or you can do apophyllite with celestite. That's really nice. So just different, you can kind of mix and match and try out different kinds of things. But I usually have a clear quartz with me to amp up the energies. So that's why I only pick one or two. I don't really do that many because it can be too much. Um, and then another one for skin is rose quartz or like little chips. You can put little chips in your facial cream, you know, or you can use a tumbled stone. And green aventurine for growth. So like skin and healing growth kind of thing works really well for your skin or your hair too. All right, so those are just some of my many crystal combinations that I love and I use on a regular basis. These are kind of like my little box of tricks, some of the things that I just absolutely adore and use a lot. So I hope that helps. I hope I've given you some ideas on how to make your own little crystal combos. Just be careful with it. Take it slow. Keep notes. Keep track of how things work for you or don't work for you and what happens. And that will help you to make better combinations or recipes because you're actually creating your own crystal recipes. Right? So keep track of that. And you have cookbooks and recipes and stuff like that. So keep track of what works and doesn't work and all that kind of stuff. And make it your own. Make it your own experience. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you guys. And as always, have a blessed day. Bye.